start. Let's go ahead and record. So since I fucked up the previous one, so now you get an hour-long episode because we just wasted half an hour of time arguing about the Viking movie.
Well, okay, so we can pick up on that. So there are a few things that I want to bring up. Okay, people need to know that William almost relapsed on NyQuil.
Right. Yeah.
That we've given up on multiplayer games because you and I have kind of aged out of it and we've sort of grown up.
I make no claims to that, but I have aged out of it.
And Patrick just made a reference to the most deadly street drug, gabbafentin.
No, it's fentanyl, right?
That's not what you said.
I meant fentanyl. Sorry.
But you said gabbafentin, and I like it better.
Oh, okay. Is it as dangerous? I don't know.
It's 10 times as dangerous.
I gave it to my cat not too long ago.
Oh, that's right. We were that was the question. Yeah, can
I was wondering if this was a real thing.
yeah, can people take animal aspirin, or if animals can take people aspirin? The answer is yes, but not often, and you don't want to do that regularly.
And you gotta mash it up in your food.
Yeah, there's that. And we were into a... William thinks the Northman sucks.
Yeah, William thinks the Northman sucks.
I thought it was one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
So is it just because the action wasn't very good?
Yes.
Did you expect it to be an action movie alone? Or is that what you wanted out of it?
I didn't know what I was expecting out of it, but once I saw him do fights and I went, this looks like what I would try and choreograph in my backyard, I said, no, like, the Vikings aren't even, like, swinging for real. Like, they're just, like, it looks like just horrible choreography.
I thought it was actually pretty good, but I don't watch as many Marvel movies as you do, so I don't know what a good fight looks like anymore. So,
Well, you do, because you don't watch a lot of Marvel movies. You have to remember... Okay, so what I can tell you, right, is that the main actor in that movie was not polygons 99% of the time. You remember when Black Panther was, like, swinging around that gigantic rhino?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what those are. What you saw was a movie with practical effects, blocking, and direction.
Well, then that needs to go. Because that was terrible. I don't care if it looks bad 10 years from now. For right now, I am entertained. That was...
A movie, yes. That's what people used to call a movie.
Oh, it
yes.
was terrible. It was it was horrible. Just horrible. Well, it was like... No, it'd be like the weapons wouldn't even hit each other. They'd be like stopping before... Like, it was so just not fluid.
Like
you could...
combat, yes.
No, like they wouldn't take full swings. It was so... Just like we have to...
When were they not taking full swings, man? They're...
It looked like... And then the last fight was just terrible. Like...
I thought him chopping his head off was kind of weak. So
you want bad CGI. It was horrible.
I think that was just done with the green screen behind him. So...
Well, maybe so. Well, then even more. Like, God, use the tools at hand.
I don't know. I wasn't really expecting like a big fighty fight movie.
Not in the slightest, no.
I mean, so when he's doing the attack on the Russian village in the beginning, so you get some fight scenes in there, but then like the rest of them seem like they were fairly inconsequential for the movies. So
I guess that's what I look for.
Yeah,
okay. And it was so bad.
What you were looking for was okay, and I understand, right? And I also understand that expectations are different from what you're seeing here, right? So, number one, I'm familiar with the person's other works, right?
Yeah, I had no clue.
So I have some of that going for me, right?
There's not much combat.
No.
Yeah.
No. In The Witch, the only combat is some dude gets beat up by a goat.
That's right. Yeah, Black Paul or whatever.
But it turns out that the goat is
actually Satan. Yes. Now that's a twist.
All right.
And again, this is where the metaphorical piece, especially within, say, like The Lighthouse, which, again, I think I've said this before. I wanted that movie to end a different way than it did. I was happy with what I saw, but there was a concept that they left laying on the table that I thought would have been so much more interesting than what they did. So there's a lot of surrealism and that plays into it, right? But that's the other problem there, is that you're not measuring the work by its own merits. So if your expectation of watching anything involving Vikings was that this is going to be some kind of like wire stunted movie, right? I get it. But the whole purpose of this was, like, let me put it this way. The scale is deliberately kept down to a minimum, right? So take from the very beginning, there is a town and a leader there, right? This is not a big castle. It's not a huge community of people, right? It is a small change of power by a guy who takes power and immediately loses his kingdom afterwards for disrupting the order, right?
Okay.
And that's where he takes a small group of people and has to hide somewhere else.
In Iceland.
Yes, in Iceland, which also, look, I'm going to throw this out there. Whether or not that you like the action, the location scouts and the shots of where they chose to shoot were stunning. Absolutely stunning. The setting was gorgeous to look at.
It was there.
Okay, then there's that perspective, yes.
I was too distracted by the blocky movement of people and disjointed, just all of it.
Dude, they're extended.
And it seemed extremely artsy.
It was.
There's an artsiness to it.
there's
Yeah,
definitely an
I
did not like it.
I'll absolutely give you the artsiness of it, where the whole point is to determine for yourself what parts of this are specifically designed to be metaphorical or real. Because there is something fun to say, like, yes, the talking head of decapitated Willem Dafoe.
Right.
Like,
His gold eyeballs.
yeah, you want to say, like, okay, well, this is actually happening. Right? This is really neat, right? Or if, if your father, like, goes in the barking thing,
I
and he
did
actually
not
touches
like
your
the
heart.
barking thing at all. Like, I was,
I thought that was,
oh my
yeah.
god, stop.
No, that was where I was like, okay, it's gonna be this kind of movie. Got it. So that's where it got a lot more 300-y for me than like an actual like historical.
The tree, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And again,
Well, more importantly, when he's looking down at his feet and he's floating, it's like, you're either stoned or this is that kind of movie.
Right.
And it was like, oh no, it's that kind of movie. Got it.
and that's where I said, like, the Gladiator comparison comes in, because that thing of, like, seeing the afterlife, seeing
Yes,
that things that clearly not here, right?
Right.
But are, yeah. And again, that's where the whole piece is. Before we were so rudely cut off by technical issues. They're gonna write a strong letter to that guy.
He's right here, dude.
Yeah. Well, we're a polite company right now. We'll talk to him later.
So is she pregnant with twins?
I would think so.
Yeah, I think that's what's
It
in.
looked like they were of different age when they were in the tree, and I'm like, well, then you can't die because you still have to go have a second kid.
I didn't really notice. So, I mean, you don't meet them; you just see them in the tree,
Right, which means that's what he's
Possibly envisioning.
right?
Possibly.
Really happening.
Well,
Okay, let me just throw this out to you here. All right, I'm just going to put this out because this makes a big difference. Does ambiguity bother you in movies?
such as what?
Such as not knowing for sure whether or not those are actual twins or...
If it's playing out for what I need in the plot a little bit, then yeah.
Fair.
Because if one's young and one's older, then that would signify that you're seeing that I'm going to have 2 children with this woman.
Well,
And you're not going to have that happen because you're doing this for the vision of all this other stuff, so you're no longer caring about it, or you do care, but the last thing that you have is that vision of the 2 of them. Like,
this is the question. This is where the real, at least to me, the interesting part came into, right? Is those visions that are happening, right? There's multiple interpretations. Number one, the one that I think makes the most sense to me is again, this is part of something where you take what would have been like a ho-hum adventure, right? Or in a real person's life would have been a big, huge adventure, right? Not something that you scale up to like
His world, like his life.
right.
Okay.
Versus any other person. If that happened to any one of us, okay, that would be so far out of the bounds of normal. It would be the event of a generation, right? In a movie, okay, where you're saying, but when is he going to fight Thanos with all 6 fucking stones, right? You're saying this is low scale, right? So the question is, number one is, if this is a story that's being like passed down to different generations or whatever, right? And the embellishments comes out, that's interesting. The other thing is whether or not the embellishments are actually how he's seeing the events, right? So when he goes to claim the sword, in his vision of things, I fought the fucking owner of this thing. In his vision of things, I fought him on a volcano, right?
Right.
Whereas you're like, well, like near one, on an island with one, right? But you're seeing this as part of this. There's this thing, like, they never explain it. They never explain why the blade can only come out at night, right? They don't. It's called the night blade, but he can only use it at night. But then when you think about it, the only reason it works is because he has to do his work at night. So when you tell the tale, it's the night blade. It wouldn't come unsheathed unless you were using it at night, right? That's where the interesting interpretations come in, where you say, you had the option to tell a straightforward revenge story, right? That is where you go into, that's where I thought it was going into Conan territory at the beginning, is Crom's not real.
Atlantis still lives.
Right. Most of this is, for the most part, played straightforward, except for a couple of weird elements. But they say, like, okay, you have to accept that this world actually has black men that turn into snakes, right? And can turn snakes into spears and hit a moving target
Arrows.
at like 200 miles away. Well, feet, yards, I don't know, right? You have to accept some of that, right? Got it. But this doesn't tell you implicitly that these supernatural events, right, are real or not. That's where the interpretive part comes in. Now, I'll also say that in terms of like technical expertise as far as like shooting, there are shots in there that rival anything that I've seen out of the best directors in my life. Okay? There is a continuous shot where you walk by the village as the main character is walking through into and out of the foreground behind buildings while there are fights going on, right? Only to end at the part where they're shooting arrows toward the screen.
Yeah, I know which part you're talking
Right.
about.
Yeah.
That is a fucking masterpiece of a shot. But if you're saying like, but he's not doing flips over elephants, right?
He's not even walking like a human being. He's walking like a robot.
Why do you think that okay, the Nordish people didn't practice that much kung fu?
Not kung fu, a regular gait. Like you would walk smooth, your arms would swing, not stomp, stomp, stomp. He walked like the Iron Giant.
All right, no, it's fine. Again, this is going to be a question of expectations, right?
I went in expecting nothing.
I did too. I knew very little about it.
See, this is why you guys should read this shit before you go look at it.
Oh, this is actually incredibly beneficial to me.
Okay. I like to have a frame.
What?
So-
Okay, what did it say before?
Well, it's a movie about Viking Norse, like, so and so, whatever the guy's name was. At this, time, it's revenge story, yada yada yada. It stars Skarsgård and yada yada yada.
Okay,
It's directed by
that
this
wouldn't
guy.
have changed. Like my
Yeah, but I mean, like, for me, it's just like, oh, okay, so like, and then I like to see who directed it and how much it sold and things like that. So is it a big fucking, is this a summer blockbuster or is this kind of an indie film? Those are the things that I like to know before I watch a
I've
film.
never paid attention to the director.
I learned to pay attention to certain ones to avoid. Yeah.
And for me, certain ones to follow,
Yeah, sure.
follow up on. That's usually a good measure to tell if they're any good is how many hits do they have out of, what's your average?
Did you have one movie and then the rest were duds, or?
So when people claim retroactively that Independence Day was a stroke of genius,
I loved it. I don't care.
I love it.
no.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you didn't love it. I said stroke of genius.
Okay, all right, not a stroke of genius. Fine.
Because you have to remember, this guy directed Godzilla 1998. You have to look at his body of work and say, you have
Who's
Remember the
directed it?
Godzilla Raptors?
Roland Emmerich.
Yeah, Emmerich.
Oh,
Didn't he direct the new one too? Like
I think
2-3
so.
years ago?
Yeah, I think so.
all right, that was bad.
Yeah, well, this
That one was
thing
bad.
is,
Yeah, that one was bad.
if you walk through and say, all right, well, your breadth of work says that you got lucky.
Right, yeah.
You got Will Smith.
Yeah.
Right? So
You
that's
got one right down the pipe, man. I just happened to get a hold of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
Like that's the thing is, you thought it was a fastball,
But-
right? This just happened to be a curve that got away from.
Right, yeah, exactly.
All right.
You had one finger over the stick.
So yeah, so you launched it. So that's why I look at stuff like director. Patrick, all right, chime in here. Talk. Me and Will have been arguing. I want your thoughts.
I liked it. I think it's. I mean, but I don't like. I didn't take the Conan vibe. I took it as Braveheart. So as Viking Braveheart, and so
I can see a part of that too.
yeah, and so you've got different elements in there, and so them barking like dogs and eating mushrooms and then going berserk on things. It's like, oh, okay, so this is what makes this movie different as far as revenge story goes, just the flavor of it and things like that. I didn't think the combat was that bad, but then again, there was only like one scene. So, and that's when he's like going through and killing all the Russians. So there are a couple others where they had little sword fights and things like that, but I think they were deliberately fast. So
Yes, and then it goes into a semi-assassination plot kind of thing.
yeah, sure.
yes.
But even the last scene only lasts like 30 fucking seconds.
It's pretty quick. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like this long, drawn-out Clash of the Titans kind of thing. No, he fucking murders him pretty quickly.
Yep.
So, it just didn't strike me as being that was the thing. Now, the metaphysical aspects of it, that was... I don't know. I struggle with some of them, yeah. So, the heart tree and stuff like that. It was kind of like, I get what you're saying here, but this is really over the top, man. So,
I just, well,
yeah.
Again, the whole thing on that here is, again, this interpretation of that is how he sees it,
yeah.
right? And I can also say, like, all right, well, this is a classic argument. This is, we had a friend that would say this about, okay, this one of the mistakes I made a little while ago was I watched the Fifth Element. Okay,
That actually holds up pretty good.
No, it doesn't. Okay, let me tell you why not. Okay.
Oh, man, I watched that maybe like 3 months ago. I had a hoot of it.
Okay, now hold on. The Fifth Element has parts that I enjoy.
Silly in that way.
It has parts that I enjoy, right?
President Debo.
But this is the problem I have, is the Fifth Element also has a character named Ruby Rod,
Ruby Rod?
who is played by Chris Tucker.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now, again, people have made the argument that he's supposed to be annoying. Well, mission accomplished. But you are irritating the living shit out of me.
I thought he was.
That
fine.
Yeah.
doesn't make it okay because you say he's supposed to be annoying, right?
I also like
he's
the
not
one
in
with
that
Jackie
much of a
Chan, Rush Hour.
Rush Hour.
He is not the same character in that.
No.
He is
Not
not.
to that extreme, but he's got part of that flair in him.
No, he's like
Not
Smokey on meth rather
even
than weed.
a little bit. He is not wearing a fucking
Well, yeah.
cannon for a hairstyle, and he's not dressed up like a fucking drag queen and being fabulous. Fuck that.
What's your point?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like when you're talking about the things that, like the heart thing, okay, you can sit there and say like, yes, I can see what they're going for, but it still didn't work.
Well, it just didn't work for me.
Right.
I mean,
and that's
fine.
exactly what I was
yeah.
saying with the Fifth Element.
okay.
Is with that character, I get what they were going for.
So that
but
movie
I
doesn't
still
hold up
hate
for you
it.
just because of that one character?
No, I hate that character. No, that's what I'm saying. Is
Yeah,
that
okay.
Fifth Element has now broken into a series of things I like about it.
Yeah.
Right? Parts that I think are great. And then there are other parts like, I don't know, this kind of, I don't know, this is kind of weird.
I watched that one not too long ago. I forgot how fucking good Gary Oldman is in it.
He's brilliant.
He's brilliant.
Yes.
He's great.
And the design on a lot of those things, like I love those little turtle aliens. I think they look
They're great. Yeah. Even the Ugnaughts are great.
there's a lot of things about it, like but the appeal of like Hilo is not. I don't know. She just doesn't do it for me at this point. Whereas I thought that she was so endearing the first time I saw it. It's like, actually, you're kind of bothering me now.
In Fifth Element, sorry, I
Yeah,
the main girl.
here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mila Jovovich.
Yeah, I was like, the first time I saw this, was like, I thought your character was super endearing. It's like, now you're kind of pissing me off.
Oh, she never really bothered me.
But that's
So, like, but back to the Northman. So, like, I don't think there was anything in there that really annoyed me. So, about those scenes, they were brief. Like I said, like you're saying, there's multiple layers to this and different ways to interpret it and stuff like that. I get all that. So, and I see what they're trying to say and trying to leave some of that open to interpretation. So, but they still choose to show me what they show me. So,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yes.
and so it's
Absolutely.
like okay. I didn't have any problems with the set, cinematography, anything like that. I thought Ethan Hawke was great in the movie.
Who's Ethan Hawke?
He was the bad guy. So
the dad.
He's the dad.
That died.
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I recognized him right away.
Did you?
Yeah. But I definitely did not recognize Willem Dafoe.
He's awfully hairy.
No, I didn't recognize William Dafoe right away either until you see his severed head later. It's like, oh,
Dude, I can suss out that voice anywhere.
I couldn't suss out his voice. I sussed out his eyes. So that's why I had to go back and watch it again.
There is
that first part.
Yeah, there is something to his voice where always have that part of like finish it. Right? I can always hear that cadence. Like that's him.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, so like, I think it was good that they did that stuff early in the movie to kind of set it up as this is the kind of movie it's going to be. So, I thought it would have been more interesting if they had actually gone into his uncle's sons a little bit more.
I agree.
Yeah.
I completely agree because they teeter on it.
They kind of,
They're about to go there, but then they don't.
Well, the guy still turns out to be an asshole, and so you kind of want to see him have this redemptive arc where he learns his mistakes and he's like really sorry that he murdered his brother and blah. But he's not really sorry about that. He's sorry about the fact that he's living on a shit farm now.
Yes.
So and his sons are extremely resentful of the fact that they don't get this. Like fabulous kingdom kind of thing. Although his youngest son seems pretty harmless and he dies like a bitch.
Yeah.
So yeah, his mom's like basically slapping and that dude's like stabbing him in the back and he's just like
Toss him off.
and he smashes his head against the hearth and it's kind of like got it.
Well, okay, so the question is, all right, so if you turn that around and say, all right, how are we going to do this where all right, so if he's going to go stab a lot on a little kid, there comes a conundrum where you're like, do we do this? Do we go where he like basically once upon a time in Hollywood beats his fucking face against the fireplace? Or because this is a kid. These are not the
You
people
gonna flamethrower him in the pool?
Yeah. what is it? It's like a can of chunky soup or whatever it is that he fucking nails him with.
Yeah. I thought it was spaghetti.
Okay, whatever it was, yeah. But and you're gonna do that to a kid, right?
Right.
That's the rough thing. So because this is the problem that I had with. Neither of you guys saw The Lighthouse, right?
No.
I started watching it. I couldn't do it.
Okay, it's dense. It's hard to watch.
It had way too much drinking in it.
There's a lot of drinking in it.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Okay, there's a scene that the film opens, right? This is where I thought it kind of lost itself. Is the film opens with the two previous attendants of the lighthouse walking out with their trunk of stuff, right? As the other two are checking in, right? Now, if you thought that this movie got off on a weird metaphorical, what's real, what's not, kind of like tangent, this movie's all that plus in black and white and 10 times more, right? But
You would not like it.
I don't think you would.
Yeah,
Look, there's a lot of people like. I like parts of it. The thing that kills me is that movie. The Lighthouse has the opportunity to end with Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe switching crews with the new team coming in, which would have been so interesting in terms of explaining through the metaphor what the psychological issues are that they're going through. They didn't do that. It ends with the bird pecking out his liver, Prometheus style. All right. So, all right. My thing here is the story that they set up, and they did it. They got me on this because the whole reason that I thought that they were going low scale was they're showing that the brother, right? He kills the king. He loses his stuff, goes to this other area. I thought the whole purpose of this was to show that this quest for revenge that he's going on is going to come back on him because it's basically a cycle that they're creating.
Well, it did, in a sense, because he found out the truth about his mother. So,
which is an interesting take, at least for me.
As soon as that happened, it was kind of like, okay, fine, he's going to kill him. And so, you know, I think as soon as he found that out, when he confronted her on it, and then it was like, all right, this is on rails at this point in time. So
it is okay. So again, this is another one of those movies where if you listen to the dialogue in the first 5 minutes,
I couldn't understand half of it.
I turned on the subtitles.
So, yeah, I probably should have done that.
I turned on the subtitles.
Yeah, dialogue was not this movie's strong point. So.
It was once I could fucking understand.
Right.
No, it's dude, it's the same thing like when I went to go see fucking The Dark Knight Rises in the theater. Like, how am I supposed to understand what he's going? Right? Made more sense when I watched it at home and I saw the subtitles, right? But yeah, so I did that. That's something I learned from like the first viewing to the second. I'm like, I gotta fix this. But it's another one of those movies where if you listen to the advice that the boy is being given, they lay out the plot of what's happening before anything starts. They did this in Midsommar. They do this in like Hereditary, things like that, where they lay out what's, if you listen carefully, they're going to lay out for you what's going to happen, right? Because that's when he even says, he's like, but the most dangerous thing that you have to look out for are women, right?
Right.
You know, so there's, and he just breaks down the plot.
That's why they were barking at each other. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
And of course, you know, they have a setup for this in the beginning when he comes in and she's like, don't ever come in here, right?
Right, yeah.
Right? So at first you're saying, what's
I
your
guess I
fucking
didn't
problem,
catch
Nicole
that, but
Kidman?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
why are you being such a bitch, right?
Yeah.
And I will say this just as a side note, she looks kind of weird now.
Yeah. I don't think she looks bad.
No, but she looks...
But she looks a little plasticky, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Mannequin-esque.
And when you're trying to take somebody and set them like 15 years older...
She's got to be in her late 50s.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. Is they try to make her look young, then old, and since her face doesn't move, but she's still like a great actress, don't get me wrong.
She is. Yeah. I hadn't seen her in a while, to tell you the truth. It's been a while since I've seen her in a movie. So
she showed up in something I saw.
Wasn't she in that deer thing or the heart? Or...
Yes, the killing of a sacred deer.
Oh, yeah.
But that's not a new movie.
Is
it? I don't.
2015 maybe.
Okay, so all right.
So new is relative, but yeah,
So, Jeff, you're a recommend on this one?
maybe it's
I'm going to be a strong recommend. I liked it.
well. It comes down to
And Williamson, no.
If you want to feel like wasting 2 hours of your life, feel free.
That's pretty hard.
well, this is you have to know yourself. You have to know you. You said read the reviews, and I think that's a perfectly acceptable answer.
Sure.
Right? If if you want a certain thing, and if you want wire kung fu stunts, and if you want,
not even saying I need wire kung fu.
it's really starting to sound like you.
I need. It was slow.
It's just poking at each other, man.
It was like it just didn't. It didn't
What's you
move
guys doing?
fast. Like the. I usually don't care about plot holes, but like, stay here so that you don't get hurt. But in the very next scene, we're going to be threatening your life. Well, then she should have obviously gone with you. Like, it was pretty clear. Like, and then just was just terrible.
Okay.
I thought all of the decisions he made, like at the end there, were just terrible. Like it was. I just was not a fan of. Like,
well, going back and killing a guy's uncle when he could have gone away with his woman.
yeah.
So
You've now seen a better life. You have these visions, which are supposed to be important to you. You've been lied to your whole life.
but he did go to Valhalla in the end.
Whoa, whoop-de-doo.
But it's the afterlife,
Yeah,
man.
I get it, but you now have
That's
something.
kind of the goal.
But that means you don't even see your kids.
Well, the whole movie is spurred on by a destiny that he's forced to walk. That's why he makes so many of the decisions that he does.
And he shut everybody out along the way until he met somebody that's new, which changes your point of view.
Right, that's a theme of the movie. That's when he says at the end, when he's been told you can have this or this, that's where he breaks with it and says, I'm going to have both.
But then he doesn't.
Well, actually, he does. That's specifically what he does. No, I get it.
Oh, I get it. You guys are gonna walk around each other for 10 minutes.
Well, this is what you're asking me. If I recommend it,
You can recommend it, that's fine.
no, there's no way I could give this a universal recommendation because, like, your criticisms are all valid, okay? Where if you came in there and said, I see something with Vikings, you're presenting this as a revenge story. Where are the Vikings and where's the revenge and when are we going to get to it? God damn it. Okay? I totally understand that, right? But if you take all that and said, but presentation is everything, right? And you said that it's going to be a cerebral experience. It's going to ask you to make decisions of what you're seeing. If you want Viking action, you're not going to get specific, because you're going to say this needed 3 or 4 more battles.
No, I don't even need more battles. I just needed the ones that they had to look real.
Well, I think that's the problem, Will, is that it looks real, not movie.
Well, maybe you just needed to look movie. That's fine.
That's
see
fine. Right.
Vikings on History Channel looked way cooler than this.
Right. That's History Channel Vikings designed to look a specific, like, let's do action
what I
Viking.
like.
And that's fine. That's what I'm saying, Will, is so you're asking if I can recommend it. If that's what you want out of your Vikings, you will not find that here. Right?
Okay.
You're going to 1-star the hell out of this movie in anger on IMDb, and that's fine. But if what you're looking for is a different experience where it is asking you to accept the metaphysical part of this, right, and take a deeper interpretation, you'll like it, maybe.
I didn't see any of that.
Because you could turn around and say, like, this is Holcomb. This is, like, you could see things where, like, just get to it. Are you going to kill this guy or not? Is he going to kill you? I don't know. If you're willing to follow that thread of, like, the artistic merits of it, fine. If you're not, then you're like, fuck this movie. And that's totally okay. Totally okay. Yeah,
Yep,
Will,
that's me.
please understand. I will make this clear with every review that I ever give. Me disagreeing with you will never make you a bad person, despite how angry I am with you, right?
Why are you doing So what are we going to watch next?
Well, Patrick, to wash our palate, our next movie is Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Sweet.
Also available on Prime.
I might have seen this. I don't know.
Well, you remember so little of it that I will count this as a non-C. I will
I think
consider
once I
this.
see, like, I saw the first one just recently.
I don't
so
want
I
to
can-
watch this. I really don't.
Okay, fair.
Well, then you put in the work.
You're going to make me do it?
No, I'm not going to make you do it.
Why are you suggesting this?
Because this is as far away from the Northman as I can possibly think.
Well, what do you want to watch?
What about Paul Giamatti and
John dies at
Can't
the
read
end.
that.
oh,
What is
down
it?
here, John dies at the end.
What
I'm just choosing it because he hates Paul Giamatti.
You hate Paul Giamatti.
We had
That's
this
what
in
you
the show.
want to watch, man. Don't pick it. Why do you want to watch that?
Because I watched the first one and liked it.
Actually,
Okay.
the first one was really good.
All right, I'll watch it. All right, I'm in.
Well, have you seen the first one?
No, and I'm not
See,
gonna.
does that sway it?
It sways it if he jumps in and like says like, all right, cool, I see this.
Does it have Jim Carrey in it?
Yes.
Okay, I can watch that.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm pretty sure I've seen it, but I can't think what it is.
It's on Prime.
It is on Prime.
Once it
Pay
gets the
for it.
ball going.
Well, fine. Look,
It's
here's
fine.
the thing. Look,
I was
we
entertained.
can do the homework later, right? We can do the homework later and say, take a look, see what's on there, right? And we have access to texting machines. We can say like,
Oh, yeah.
have you seen this? Or you guys might like. It will never hurt my feelings if you guys call me.
I don't know. It always feels fucking weird. I think I've called you like twice in the last year. And I know there's always like a fucking non-zero chance that you are absolutely
Yeah, you're asleep
Yeah.
every single time I call.
You just have to accept it.
Well, yeah, I understand. That's fine. And I mean, but yeah, I still like feel rude when I do that.
I don't know what to tell you. Look,
Yeah.
I've gotten texts from you at 2 a.m. So, like,
Have you?
yes.
Oh.
Yeah, usually after we do stuff like this. And then, like, at,
Oh, yeah.
at 1:30, you'll be like, yo, man, actually, it's like this. Or
Have I ever done that?
in that language? No.
Yeah, okay. I was about to say. So I usually don't come over here when I drink. So if you get one on me from a Thursday night, then there's a non-zero chance that I've got quite a bit of beer in me. But, you know, other days, not so much.
So we'll take a look at that in detail. We don't have
I'm fine with Sonic the Hedgehog.
So speaking from the previous show, you said by today we'd have the Bobert
We
decision.
don't. We do not. Boobert is ahead by like 1,200 points the last time I checked. All right, 1,200 points. 1,200 million.
We're in video game mode still.
She's up by 2 touchdowns. Yeah, whatever.
So, which, if I'm not mistaken, so I was talking to my brother about this last night when they said that Pueblo County still had like some 30,000 left, and everybody was like, "Oh, Pueblo County's mostly Democratic." I'm like, "Bull fucking shit, it is." So it was like there are parts of it that are Democratic. Those are the parts that are on the news. So everybody else is not. I see more Trump flags down there than I do up here. And so, you know, it didn't surprise me that she flipped it over. So she's probably gonna win it. She's probably gonna win it back. Yeah. Which still means the Democrats are gonna have like, I mean, the Republicans are gonna have like a 3-vote margin, so or something in the House.
Might be like 5 or
It's like
6.
nothing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Senate, if anything, it'll be tied or by 1.
It'll be tighter by 1. And so the two takes on this one that I saw, one of them I don't like, the other one actually makes a little bit of sense. So was that so first is it just goes back to the way it was. Okay, where it's basically 50-50, and even if the Republicans have a 1-seat advantage, you know, or if they pick up that seat that they lost thanks to Pennsylvania, so right there, then they're back to 50-50, and Kamala Harris is back in, you know,
Yeah,
Right,
spot.
tiebreaker.
So the other thing that happens is, all right, so they go from 50 to 51 and actually take the Senate.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but at that point in time, like, there's a couple Republicans in the Senate who are definitely close to retiring, and they don't think they can hurt them, you know. So and say like, "Hey, we want to do this," and so they'd be like, "Nah, fuck you." So I ain't helping out Donald Trump, you know, kind of thing. So, and then the third take that I saw, which was really interesting, is like if you go back to this point in time where we were before, and the Democrats actually have the Senate again. All right, with the 51, okay, so they don't need Kamala Harris. It turns Joe Manchin back into King of America for the next 2 years.
Right.
Well, I saw the same thing with the House. So they said that if they have like a less than 5-seat majority, the question was whether or not the Republicans, the question was whether or not Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boeberts and those like basically hijacked the plane So, they bust out the red razor blades. So, or does the new Speaker of the House like corral like 5 to 10, conservative Democrats, which still apparently exist in some places, and basically get that entire right wing of his party to heel down? So they don't know. It's going to depend on whether or not it's Mike McCarthy or not. So,
Do you think Trump is going to run?
absolutely. So,
So sad.
dude,
I was hoping that by seeing how many of his people failed, that
I don't think the man. I think the man is incapable of taking
care.
hints.
Well,
So-
the party has really turned on him in the past couple of days, and
No.
well, okay, now this is what I think is interesting. I don't remember who said this or where I read this, but they put this out here in a way that completely makes sense to me. Again, the most interesting thing about the results of this are what happened to Florida, right? Where this has now been, it has completely been co-opted by DeSantis. They love what he's doing there, and a lot of people are saying, I wish my governor was like that, right? The way it was put to me was, anybody that would vote for Trump would vote for DeSantis. But in reverse, anybody that would vote for DeSantis might not necessarily vote for Trump.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that.
And I
a lot
think
of women.
Like me.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
women despise Trump.
They can't.
they do. Okay, and I talked to you. You heard about this, the breakdown.
37 point.
Plus
Yeah.
37. So if you're thinking, remember, women outnumber men in this country. Period.
I didn't know it, but
Yeah,
they do.
it's not much though.
No, it's not much, but they do. So you have to take them in. Like, it's not like I'm going to well, what's my woman demographic in China, right? So you have to look at it and say, well, we can't ignore you. We have to make concessions. We can't. I mean, I showed you guys the breakdown on the map of if only men voted, the entire country turns red except for Washington or something like that, right? But that's the thing. So you have to get some of them to come over, get 37 down to 25, and you clear this thing.
yeah, all over the place.
Yes. Yes.
I don't think Donald Trump's gonna get out of the way, man. So
No, I think at this point,
Do you think DeSantis would go head to head with him on a
I don't-
primary, or would he just wait?
I don't know, man. I think 2024 looks way better for him than 2028 does,
Yeah.
because it's too far in the future. You just don't know what's going to happen.
yeah.
So, which means that something's either going to happen to the Orange Menace. So, meaning that he's going to have to get indicted and taken down or something like that. That's not going to happen if the House turns red.
No.
Ha 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 ha. There's a little bit of.
Or it does.
Well, it could, but then it would be a state charge, so it wouldn't necessarily be a federal charge. So, because I know the Manhattan DA is still going to go after him. So they just launched a couple more torpedoes in his direction a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, he's remarkably talented at dodging all of those things.
I'm surprised
Exceptionally
that the
so, yes.
Democrats would want to get him busted at this point. It would look like it's pretty clear that
Any Democrat who actually puts his fucking head on their mantle is a fucking hero. So, yeah, of course they're going to go after him. So,
That's the thing.
God.
That's
if you actually bag that dude, then
that they do have a legitimate fear is that strategy worked like shit in 2016.
Totally did,
They
yeah.
thought that was a give me. By all means, we want this guy to be.
But I mean, they were backing the Trump Republicans, and they lost all of them. So their strategy worked for.
I want to see exactly how much influence they actually
actually
had. My guess is that it's not near as much money as you think. So
I think that actually had a fairly good chance of blowing up in their faces. Too,
I think
because
so, too.
how close these races were, in some places, a few thousand votes would have had these places jam-packed with Trump lights.
yeah, that's true.
These, so here's the thing, anyways. All right, so if you think about it, here's a positive way to take it. So number one, what that means is we've actually moved closer to center
Yep.
than we've been, which is, to me, a good place to be.
We're way closer to center now than we have been for like the last 12 years.
So that's the question is
Okay.
the question is this, right? When it comes down to it, if everything is a sine wave, right? Which part of the sine wave did we catch? Is the top of the sine wave equilibrium, or is this like, oh shit, in 2024, right?
I don't know what it's gonna do.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I guess it'll all depend on how things go from here.
Your predictions are good as mine.
Yeah.
But there is people are saying that because all these seats didn't flip, that the momentum is dead. But actually, if you take a look at where the actual gains were and the demographics that have changed, like this moment, there are certain departures from the Democratic Party that should have them pooping their pants inside and out. They need to be thinking about, like, why are we losing Latinos? Like, there's a weird section, like, as rare as they may be, black Republicans are fascinating because they have a liberty to say certain things that white Republicans don't get to.
I don't think there's much mystery why most Hispanic groups are moving away from the Democratic Party.
Well, the question is, what the fuck have you done for us?
I don't think that they can do anything about it either. So, because you'd have to decide, like, which... So, like, the big one there is actually the abortion issue. So, you're talking about a group that is predominantly Catholic. Yeah. And so, you know, are the Democrats going to be like, oh, well, yeah, we're going to go pro-life or pro-choice now, or pro-life.
Pro-life.
I can't get them up backwards. But, it's just, so they can't do that, man. And then, like, the same thing with, like, certain other demographics just being concentrated in certain areas. So this is the thing that I saw that was kind of interesting about Florida. How it's basically turning itself into the Great Red Island, all right? So that is just sucking red guys from other states,
Right.
like crazy.
I mentioned that to you.
Yeah, so apparently there's some data to back that up now, and California is just the same way, and you see what happened in Texas. All right, there's big chunks of Texas that are bright purple now. So
Yes.
the thing is not it's not monochromatic
is not.
anymore.
No.
So, and the fact that Beto O'Rourke, who should just fucking go away,
That dude
almost get back in, man. So, you know.
well, he got dunked on.
I know he got dunked on, but as far as a Democrat in that state goes, he didn't do that bad. So,
Well, they've had Democratic governors before, haven't they?
well, yeah, LBJ. That was a while ago.
It's been a minute. But then again, I can also say, like, there have been Republican governors in California.
There have, yeah, but it's been a minute too. Well, I guess when it was Arnold was the 2000s, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he's been the last one though, wasn't he? And he was kind of a weird, different type of Republican.
Well, he was.
He was a Hollywood Republican.
Yeah.
yeah,
Which is. You really either go one of two ways on that.
yeah. It's kind of a bit like being a Miami Democrat, you know?
Yeah,
So,
sort of.
You gotta
It's
walk
like-
a line.
yeah.
Well, you go two ways. You go Arnold Schwarzenegger, which is a lot of compromise. Where yes, he comes in there, it's like, yes, poor people like to eat too, right?
Yeah.
Or you go
drive a
John,
green Honda.
or you go John Voight, where it
Oh
is
yeah.
completely off the rails.
Did he run something?
No, he's a Hollywood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's he's got a collection of mega hats. Yeah.
And like the question is like which conspiracy do you believe in? He says one, they're all connected.
Right. Yeah.
It's
all the same
it's
thing.
it's the question. Yeah, conspiracy one, singular.
Singular
Yeah.
conspiracy.
And him and what is it, Randy Quaid? Yeah, he's
Yeah, Randy Quaid. It's Dennis Quaid's brother, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The crazy one.
White.
Independence Day?
Yes.
Okay.
He's the one and only.
He's the
Oh,
farmer pilot.
Oh, and Independence Day.
The drunk
okay.
pilot.
Yes, and then that goes for there's a couple other guys in there, Vince Vaughn.
Nobody cares about him.
Well, no, this is what I'm saying.
He's right ring?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt, sorta.
well, he's
not like Kirk Cameron, right wing, So
no, but he's Republican as his agent will let him be.
Yeah, like the other thing is just his faith behind him too. It just gets him painted in that corner instantaneously, because like, wait a minute, you're not Jewish. So
no, not at all.
No, not at all. It's like belong to the Church of Scientology. It's like so went to a normal church. Yeah.
I mean, he's not rude about it. He didn't like come to Hollywood and say like, I'm still pretty mad about what you guys all did to Jesus.
Yeah. Go full Kanye on him.
No. Yeah. So there's you got like Mel Gibson who.
He's a special case. He needs to be separated from the pack.
You're drawing a lot of special boxes.
There's a special cream for him, man. So
and Mel Gibson, he's like, no. I'm an anti-Semite, not a Republican. There's a difference. You heard me on the tape. Yeah. No, there's a couple others in there.
God, that guy's hilarious, man.
I think it's odd. I think Hollywood has actually finally forgiven him.
I think they've accepted him for being the level of crazy that he is. So,
well, he's also mellowed out a little bit too.
He has mellowed out. Well, yeah, multiple DUIs in this small stretch of your life will do that. Yeah.
And I think when he goes on set now, like he actually brings the doctor's note that says, "See, my doctor says I take these 3 medications."
Got him a little baggie. Well, a note on it.
He has to check them in with the school nurse,
right? Yeah,
because so third period he has to come in. They have to administer it.
Yeah.
Let me watch you take it.
Yeah,
right.
Bottoms up now.
I did have to get a call from the principal for giving my daughter cough drops and not having her take it to the school nurse.
Okay.
I didn't realize that cough drops fell in that department, but
you still have to check in like a rescue inhaler.
I don't know. My kids don't have inhalers, so
okay.
I don't know.
Okay,
maybe that's mine, thankfully.
But I didn't. I totally didn't even think about cough drops. I was like, it's cough drops.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Well, you're like, am I going to go to jail because I sent my kid to school with a pocket full of secrets?
Oh man, secrets. I don't even know
they
if
make
that
them.
exists.
No, you find them in the candy aisle.
Yeah.
Really?
No.
Oh my god!
Prediction of Ricolas.
I've seen Ricola. I don't know if I see secrets anymore.
They make them. Yeah.
Did they come in a tin still?
Yeah, you might as well put secrets in like an Altoids box.
Oh, okay.
It's the same thing. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. And those other, I remember when kids in school used to get sick, the ones whose parents were like, "Oh, well, if you feel a cold going on, go to school with like 20 of these zinc tablets."
Yeah. It's all this vitamin C.
Yeah.
So it was like, I remember my mom doing that to me a few times. You take those vitamin C, the big tablets like this, to try and fight off a cold right away, and you just shit like crazy that afternoon.
I don't think we ever got.
No.
Well, here's the thing: is we were loyal to the Flintstones chewables for a long time.
Those don't prevent colds.
We never
That's
had
not vitamin,
anything to prevent a cold.
Oh, for colds? Oh.
No, look, for as smart as our mother is, man, she thought that Hostess fruit pies counted as a fruit.
It's got fruit in it.
She wanted to give it a fruit, but she was like, "These are healthy."
Oh, right. The same thing with Eggo blueberry waffles.
No,
Yes, that is the logic.
the other famous one was like when you eat like a can of like mandarin oranges, or she would also, well, you got to drink the juice because that's where all the nutrients are.
Okay, my mom told me that too. So when you have like a little Dole cup or something, but that's like 100% corn syrup. So we know better now.
Well, the problem here is my excuse for the longest time was she's not from here. What's up with you?
Dude, that's a Midwest thing, man.
Is it?
So
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
That is
Midwest
great advertising.
What?
To make you believe that is the good stuff, like the healthy part.
Who would have? Okay, who was spreading that around?
I don't know.
I guarantee you
I
that.
bet you there was commercials saying that,
Drink the juice.
It might have come from like old, like when you actually got cans of pineapples or something. So You know,
Yeah, maybe it was just passed down. I don't
Okay,
know. I thought
my
I'm
mom
giving
had that one.
advertising.
So I'm not. We can't play that one on the Korean Peninsula.
Well, remember, I am bringing this up. Okay, so this is the same culture that has fan death and
Right.
boy, your luck's going wrong. Dig up and relocate your ancestors.
That one does not come from the Midwest.
No, in fact, I would imagine in the Midwest is like, well, so if you want to know what the scientific source of poltergeist is,
Right.
it is disturbing the dead. Yes.
Right, yeah.
Well, okay, let me ask you on this one because this one has come up. Do you wash your meat before you cook it?
It depends on what it is.
What?
Chicken? Absolutely.
You're not supposed to.
Really?
Nope. In fact,
Says who?
it is more likely to make you sick by doing that.
Oh, see, I've heard the exact opposite, man.
I thought so too. And our family wash chicken. There are plenty of families out there that wash pork, that wash beef.
Yeah, I don't wash beef.
I wash
salt it.
pork chops because they saw through the bone and you'll get the little bone bits.
See, that's smart.
And so I don't like chomping on that tiny little bone bit. with my
Okay,
teeth.
the bone bit I understand, but in terms of getting sick, that's not why you wash it, right?
No, that's not mine.
Okay, so you are never supposed to wash meat. Ever.
Really?
Yes.
Even fish?
Look,
Really?
Nope. Nope. It is supposed to make you more sick because ultimately here, when you think about the logic of it, right? What are you washing off from the chicken?
Well, it depends on what kind of chicken. Here, like if you're using butcher block chicken, then I probably wouldn't wash it because it's usually pretty dry. All right, but when I like make my Costco chicken, all right, which comes in these vacuum sealed packets where they're covered in chicken slime,
Yeah.
that shit's gross. So I can't. I wash it off there.
impacted it. I mean, if you're washing it and then literally cooking it, it won't impact it
Well, that's
for getting you sick or either way.
well, that's the thing here is that the idea is you're supposed to be washing off like the outer like germs, the whatever that is, right? Whereas like that slime and all that other stuff, and when you like go to the butcher block stuff, right? It's in a good state to cook,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And in fact, the only thing it can do is like by washing it. I guess they say it can like move the bacteria around, but if you cook it, right? That's the thing is any bacteria you cook that's on the surface before you wash it,
It's gonna die.
die when it cooks.
Yeah.
Right.
So the question is, why the fuck are you washing this in the first place?
I just
if you think the slime looks gross, then you're washing the slime off.
well, I don't like handling it with all the slime
Yeah.
on it. So that's
And then
why.
if you go
yeah.
cook it right away, it's not going to make you sicker.
No, I always pound my chicken out anyway. So you know, like
Now, if you wash it and then you put it in the fridge for a day or two, then maybe I
That's
could
a terrible
see
idea.
that. Because then you're creating
That's a lot of
that
yeah.
I could
Yeah.
see. But if you're washing it and then cooking it, yeah, it's totally fine.
Right, but it's completely unnecessary.
oh okay.
Yeah, okay. I can.
Completely
Gotcha.
unnecessary. But
I thought you were saying it'll make you sicker. It's got a higher chance.
no. Well, no. The only thing you can do is move bacteria around. But again, that's the whole thing is putting it in the pan or putting it in the oven or whatever will do everything that you
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
And it sure as shit isn't going to help you get to the center, right?
No.
In fact, the only thing it can do is make the meat worse,
Well, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's the trick. But again, there are certain cultures where you wash every bit of meat before you cook it,
Yeah,
which
I think I
is
watched.
No, I don't wash. Like I said, just the chicken. And when I've done fish, but lately I've switched to frozen fish, and so like, that doesn't have any. You don't need to
Curing.
wash it. Yeah.
well. I mean, that's it. You seem to have a pretty big aversion to slime.
I don't like slime.
I don't like slime. Yeah.
No, I mean slime is slime. The only time that slime bothers me is if you go to the deli and get lunch meat.
That's bad slime.
That
like-
better not have slime.
Well, here's the thing: is
You give it back to them.
no, it doesn't come with slime,
They
but
develop slime over a couple days.
the radioactive half-life of lunch meat that you get from the deli is like on like day 3 or 4, the taste goes a little bit strange. Day 5, you see slime.
Yeah, it's been good for over a week.
Do you get it from the deli or do you get it in like little the little
From the
tubs?
deli.
Oh, okay.
Like they cut it.
Telling
Yeah,
me
see,
it's
that's
prone
good.
to slime though.
I never buy so much that it lasts more than for a couple of days. So
Because
Yeah.
I get mine for the week, and then I might have a couple pieces left over that go into the next week, and they've been fine.
yeah.
I haven't died or anything. So
Well, like, see, then what are you getting? So, like, I noticed a turkey will go slimy
Turkey goes slimy.
fast. Yeah. So I usually get ham.
Ham less.
Ham lasts. Ham's fine.
I've done ham, turkey, and chicken,
Oh.
and all three have lasted past the week.
Okay. Past the week on turkey.
the week.
Ooh, that's kind of that's a little.
Day 5 is kind of sketchy.
You better put a lot of mustard on, like, AKA disinfectant.
I didn't know Windex made.
Yeah, exactly. It's called pledge.
Now, what is that? What is that purple crap that we clean our floors with?
Boom.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah,
That's
I love that
That's
shit.
right. Yeah,
I love
yeah.
Kaboom.
That is.
Use it on my showers now. Got the spritz, the foaming one. It's glorious. So
I will try that.
it's great.
I've tried.
You can get it at
all
Costco.
sorts of stuff.
Kaboom is fantastic. So
All right.
The foamy one.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I bought a product that I can't really endorse. I thought it would be the solution to all my problems. It just doesn't work better enough for me to recommend it.
Okay.
So there is this series of like toilet and shower brushes that what you do is you attach it into the end of your power drill.
This sounds horrifying, Jeff.
So the scrubbing action.
A little fling shit all over your room.
Well, okay. So now here's the thing.
Okay, the picture now is just great. Okay,
So for cleaning toilets, it's actually fairly effective because it has this design where the back end is flat, right? So that's going to be flush against the rim.
Yeah.
Okay. And as long as you're not a maniac when you go, because it actually has a fairly long head.
You're right. Yeah.
Right. Like if you ever like cleaned, no, not cleaned, but made concrete or
Sure, yeah.
right, that you put in the DeWalt and you stir it
get
on
the
a
batter.
pancake,
Yeah.
right? So if you're careful about it, you can get in there and you can clean the shit out of your toilet, right?
Okay.
There's a smaller attachment, okay, and then the one that I was looking for most specifically was the shower one,
Yeah.
right? Which is just a round thing with a like a brush thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I know some people clean their showers, like in the commercial, you go in there with like a 3-piece suit, because that's what these people do. But if you're willing to go in there and just say like, well, I'm going to clean me last,
Oh yeah, that's how I always do mine.
then you can really get some work done in there.
It takes so little time too.
Well, especially if you're using with a power drill.
See, I don't think I'd take a power drill into the shower. And if I did, my wife would be like, "What are you doing? Don't worry about it.
you don't want to know.
Mind your own business."
Well, when it's yeah, so this is kind of a weird thing. I
It's
thought
kind of weird.
I actually want to try that though,
I'm certainly willing to let you.
because
Okay.
mine has the stuff in, because it's got stuff in between the tiny little circles that are on the ground. And I've
Right.
tried bleach. I've tried soaking it overnight.
Yeah.
I've tried all this stuff, and it will not come out.
Huh.
So
So my thing is hit it with Kaboom. And
I'm going to try the Kaboom.
I let it sit for about 10 minutes.
Okay.
What
And
I
then
would
you
do.
jump in there with, okay, so here's the next thing. Those Mr. Clean magic erasers,
Okay.
those are badass. So grab yourself one of those. It'll take care of that shit.
All right.
So
I will try that.
Well, what I would do is take those things and then hit it with the drill. That'll agitate the shit out of it.
that will agitate the shit out of it.
Okay.
So
Because currently, since I'm totally cool, just like doing menial tasks like playing Marvel Strike Force, I take about 3-4 minutes each day, and I have a pocket knife, and I'm scraping out.
What the
Oh my
fuck,
God.
man?
So I just take a little section, and I'm like, all right,
Why is it that bad?
it will not come clean with anything.
Is it just the texture of
This
the
shit may
surface?
not help then,
I
man.
don't know. It's all because I don't know. The shower floor's got all those tiny little circles so that you don't slide.
Little dots, yeah.
And everywhere in between it, and it's been that way since we bought the house. There's just
Gunk.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it won't come clean. I don't know if I can't get in there and scrub, but I mean, even with the knife, it's just like, and it comes off as like flakes.
That's what I'm starting to think.
weird,
Maybe
yeah.
this won't help.
Yeah, it might not, man.
I will try anything, but right now, yeah, it's a 3 to 4 minute a day process. I'll take a little check section out.
Shit, I don't know if this is going to get the job.
yeah, I don't know,
because-
man. Yeah, that sounds weird. Because I have a shower that's got those little dots in it too, but mine, like, I mean, you can wipe it clean. So
There's no white.
yeah, okay, all right. I don't know.
But also out where we live, like if
Yeah.
you don't wipe down the glass door, it gets white.
Oh, you have hard water.
So I don't know if
Oh,
it
you need a
comes
water
with
softener, man.
that.
You got you might have a water softener
You know what?
upstairs. Yeah.
That's what he needs.
Yeah.
Is CLR.
CLR. Oh yeah, that's what you need. Yeah.
All right, I'll try that.
That's the
Yeah.
Calcium rust or
lime and
Yeah.
all right, I'll try that.
That's
Yeah,
If you
that's
have
exactly
hard
what
water,
you need.
I can almost.
When I had
a little
hard
bit out
water,
there, yeah.
yeah, no, when I had hard water in Nebraska, I gave up on cleaning my tub. So because after a while, it was just like, okay, it's never gonna work. But the thing that actually worked for me after a little bit was I got one of those mats. All right, and then just take that thing out and you throw it in your wash machine for a couple minutes. So and yeah, and so that way, like when you go. Like it collects on that thing, so where your feet are and shit. So
Gotcha.
yeah, and then it's way easier to clean.
Oh,
So
all right.
that doesn't really help you with the
With what's
with
previous.
what's right there now. Yeah, but
So I made. This is a washing machine mistake that I made once. Was now fortunately I did this out there on the rig, so it wasn't my washing machine. But
you put a horse blanket in it.
horse.
Right, I know, but that was the thing that always said on the washing machines in the laundromat: no horse blankets. Anyway, sorry.
All right. All right. So
And yes, Jeff's head went sideways when he said horse blanket.
what are you, a dog? Yeah, it's
Odd request.
no. So I it would get so muddy out there, and I just had my tennis shoes on, and my shoes just got drenched in mud. Right. Washing machine is not for shoes.
No,
And the dryer is even worse.
especially if they're still muddy, man.
Well, the mud was gone, but the thing is, all right, so the rubber and the soles and the stuff in there, okay, when it bounces around, number one, it leaves marks on the dryer everywhere. And the other thing is kind of like, I remember a friend of mine told me about how they shut down the Wendy's. Okay. This is a gross story, but I'm going to tell it anyway because it made me laugh. This was just a thing that they were doing to a friend of theirs, right? And this was one of those guys like, I'll eat anything for $1, right? So he said, okay, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go in the grease trap, and we're going to make you a burger patty.
I've heard this story.
And he ate it, and what he did was he barfed on the grill. And and that's how Wendy's got shut down. It's not just the barf. When you heat the barf, it is especially noxious. So the same thing goes with shoes. Is that collection of rubber and your feet and everything in there, when you superheat it, it stinks. It stinks so badly.
See, we used to put our gym shoes in the dryer, but you put them on really low heat.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So I think it was
So-
like cotton sturdy high.
Well, one of my
popcorn in there.
one of my proud moments of my life is,
Please.
and I apologize to the Loveland laundromat that I used. They didn't have signs that said "Don't wash invert clothes here,"
Oh.
and so I would wash my clothes there and dry them. And as I took my stuff out and was heading out the door, I saw a poor lady throw in her comforter into the dryer. Right after I had dried my stuff, and I lowered my head and ran as fast as I could, rather than go over and tell her, "Don't do that." So yes, that is
So you owe some lady a comforter.
that will never smell right
Need
again.
a great cosmic
Yeah.
pleasure. Take
Yeah.
your Williams down one comforter.
I mean, I know that even at this point you could afford to replace it, but this comforter came over on the Mayflower.
Yeah.
I didn't know amount of money.
It was actually her quilt that has their family history on it.
It's tapestry.
Yeah. I often looked to see if they were going to throw up a sign at any point, because I would wash it every other week.
Well, they may be like, we don't know what the hell got thrown in here.
Yeah.
It stank.
Well, what did they get? Okay, so
Oh, it was on the signs of all laundromats near the rig.
I was gonna say like that's where all the dudes went in like Watford to
Yeah.
wash their shit.
I think
they
they
had
had.
to know.
I think they even had in Watford. I think they had ones that were set up for.
Oh,
I think
right,
they even had
right.
signs saying, "Hey, wash your rig clothes here,"
Yeah.
Right.
because it's never gonna be the same.
Well, okay, so where you rate with that transaction is not so a hero would have stepped in and said, "Don't wash your Mayflower quilt in there." A piece of shit would have said, "That's your problem," but you felt remorse, so that puts you.
I felt
somewhere
really
in the
bad.
middle.
You're kind of in between,
Yeah.
man.
I felt
Yeah.
bad,
Right, right.
but it didn't stop me from going back the next week to wash my stuff there again. Because it sure wasn't going to be washed at my house. I had a washer dryer. That was not going to happen.
Well, I mean, yeah, okay, because you were soaked in that shit too, right?
Oh yeah,
So, I mean,
that was the time when I was a disaster.
yeah, yeah. And did they have at the time? Did they have the little suits? The little
Yeah, the
the
coveralls.
hazmat.
Yeah, I was. It was full on coveralls that were soaking. It was bad.
Great.
Yeah,
That's disgusting.
it was terrible.
That shit stank. And it gave you a rash.
It's very bad rashes.
Yeah, it's disgusting. So, Pat, any skin-related illnesses that you want to jump in with?
Nope.
Yeah? Scabies?
What is scabies?
Isn't that a boat one? Isn't that something
The
like
scurvy.
scurvy? My bad.
Scabies is, I think, the one that you get from, like, fleas.
Oh, yeah, no. I'm very low on fleas at the moment.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I think you're the only one that had to pull them off you, or the dog.
Those were ticks.
Those are ticks.
Ticks. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, North Dakota is lousy with
I never
ticks.
got one,
Yeah.
so I didn't play in the fields.
Well, I didn't play in any of their field. I played in our fields, and we don't have ticks. I thought a field's a field, bro.
But I also didn't bring my dog with me, so
True. And then as soon as I actually did put the collar on her that ticks don't like, yeah,
it actually works.
you could actually see like bugs, like when she jumped in, like bugs would be like spreading. Yeah.
Yeah, she's back.
Yeah. Come back home, yeah. All right, cool. Patrick, anything else you want to jump in?
Oh, no. I don't know, man. Just waiting to see what happens with Lauren Boebert. So,
There's a couple of ones I'm watching. I'm still.
looks like Arizona, they're not going to count it till next fucking Thursday.
That's
I don't even know how they-
ridiculous.
It's crazy, man. They have to be doing it on purpose.
It's nuts.
Everybody has to pay attention to us for a week. Ha ha ha.
But they do. You get that for free every time that there's a time change.
Yeah, sure.
It
But
comes
this
up
is
like,
the last one, right?
Ever?
No, I don't think that's actually gone all the way through Congress yet. So maybe.
I thought it would. I thought I saw someone that said it was done.
But
I don't know.
I know it's done. So, like here for the state of Colorado, it's done as soon as the feds change it. So, as soon as the feds change it, we are done with daylight savings time. Well, no, we go to permanent daylight savings time. So,
Is that what it is now, or what it is during?
what it was a
Okay,
couple weeks
that's
ago.
cool.
Yeah, the
I
good
like-
one, not the
yeah.
shitty one.
Are they screwing us all over?
Because I don't know, the time change fucks with me the more and more older I get, man.
This one was
So,
rough,
This one was rough. Yeah.
and I wasn't even working that day. Like
This one.
it was just did not like. The kids both had friends stay over that night, and I was like, "Hey, congratulations, you get the extra hour."
Mm-hmm.
They both came over at like on Saturday at like noon, and by the time night hit, they were just like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "You got here too early. You guys, you totally messed up your whole system." And then when they woke up the next morning, they're like, "I don't feel right." You guys wrecked yourself.
Totally screwed this one.
You messed every order of everything up.
Yeah, they're like ants when there's like a weird radio frequency. They're like bumping into each other, like vomiting, and yeah. Or just they have that like uncanny thing. Like, you know, remember when the big thing was like stores were playing that little frequency to chase out teenagers?
Did they?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
The mosquito sound.
Yeah.
It's that I can hear it. That's the problem. Is but for a while, certain stores like King Supers or something. I can't remember. This was a big thing where, in order to get kids to stop loitering there, they would play that high frequency.
That sounded like mosquitoes?
Well,
they
it's just
call
really
this.
high pitched frequency because when you get older as an adult, you can't hear it no more. So,
So it causes this, like, at first you're like, what's that? And then eventually it causes this discomfort. It didn't make them, like, fall over and vomit. Which would be funny.
bullshit.
No, what?
Got one. Got one.
You're trying to get the loiters. You're like, see, that one's. You're like looking at the clock. Oh, another 2 more minutes, and that one's going to pop.
That's
Boom!
good. Well, you go approach a person's boys, you better buy something.
Right.
You got about a minute.
That makes you guilt free.
Yeah, but the ones that actually, like, convulse, like, the ladies just have to look at, like, the big, like, the dude that actually, like, bags or whatever, and they're just gonna, like, he's just, like, kicking it out the door. It's like, get, roll out of here.
Just get the push broom.
Yeah.
He'll be fine. He just needs to go outside for a bit. Do it outside.
It's like a club. You gotta go, man.
You gotta go.
You gotta go.
Yeah, you're chasing all the girls out.
All right, we gotta close up shop here.
All right. I'm
All right.
Pat.
I will.
I'm Jeffrey.
Hitting the button.
Yeah.